What if it's not about a building? What if it's not about stained glass or steeples? What if it's about just Jesus?
All right, I think we know that I don't generally go out and just yell Jesus at everybody. We've got friends, and yesterday, not yet. Yesterday, man, we've never talked religion, and yesterday something got brought up, and I want to bring that conversation here.
Let's go.
Okay, I'm excited to hear where this is going.
I hope
you might not be.
I hope it's a long conversation.
Oh, it's definitely intriguing. So we were all kicking around and just kind of shooting the breeze, and something came up about church, and one of them said, "Well, I mean, I don't feel like you got to go to church every week."
Ah,
And so that right off the bat, you're like, "Well, okay, well, ever? Like, what do you do? You know?"
What's the protocol here?
So immediately I ask, like, "Well, hey, whatever you do is on you. I don't care. I'm not judging you. I'm just curious, but like, do you believe in the Bible, or just all of it, or some of it?" And they responded back.
that's awesome.
Well, at some point you got to just break the egg and find out what's inside.
Yeah.
And
Are these people you've been around a lot?
yeah. I mean, I know them. I know them
Okay.
pretty well. I've had good conversations with them, but never religious conversations.
Mm.
And they responded back, and they were like, well, I mean, yeah, some of it. I said, well, which parts? Like the Jesus part, or which part?
The
you
New
know?
Testament.
I mean, huh.
Well, then that's what they kind of scuffed. It's like, I said, well, are you a Christian? I mean, you said you believe, parts of the Bible. Like, what do you believe?
Yeah.
I don't know where we
They're
go
Christians
here.
like
And-
I was your Christian.
And they probably don't know. And they probably just know little teeny tiny bits and pieces that they like, and the rest they don't want, and are like, just like you said.
Well, I could have grabbed a hold of that, but that wasn't it. And then it was no. I said, well, so if you don't believe in Jesus, you're not a Christian. So, like, what do you believe? I believe in a higher power.
Oh,
And that's a new one to me, right? Oh, you believe something's happening,
agnostic.
right? But they didn't acknowledge agnostic when I said that. They're like, I
They
believe
probably
in.
don't know.
Yeah, that was a new term for
Probably a
me.
lack of knowledge all the way around.
And that's where I got surprised. I said, well, you believe that Jesus was a real person. Like, that's documented. You believe that, right? And of course they said, yeah. And
Okay.
they said, well, I went to church the first 16 years of my life,
Wow.
like a Southern Baptist church. They went to church every day. Their mom drug them to church every Sunday, every Wednesday for 16 years of their life. And then once they began to drive, it was kind of like an option. If you want to go, you can go. If
Yeah.
not, you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
So here's where it gets good.
Yeah.
And I said, well, so where do you stand? They said, well, just the whole Bible is just kind of silly.
Well, everything just went out the window.
But I can relate. I can
Yeah,
relate to
that's
where
good.
somebody may say that. And I say, no, I get you. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And they just responded back like, well, just the stories. I got you. Like, which ones?
This is good.
And
Yeah,
I'm trying to dig in, but I'm not trying to be aggressive.
Yeah, let them hang themselves.
Like, I don't feel like that can be a blanket statement. I feel like if you're going to say that, then you need to be able to back it up.
That's what most people do, though. They don't give it any thought, and they don't want to give it thought, and they sure as do not want to be pulled into the hot seat, and that's what they never expect.
Well, and that's and during this conversation, it surprised me with the knowledge that I accidentally pulled from somewhere. Like, I'm like, oh, I remember Corey talking about that.
No way.
Yeah, and
That's awesome.
we'll dig into some of that. But of course, as I'm saying, I get you. Like, on the surface of it, I can see where some of those stories seem silly. Which one are you talking about? Maybe I can help shed some light on it.
Dude.
I love that he's digging in and actually wanting to be helpful.
Yeah, like I'm thinking, okay, if they know the stories and they know Jesus was real, like, they're just a cusp from being a Christian.
Yeah. Wow.
So we dug into it, and then the statement was, well, just all of them. I was like, well, all right, now hold on. Are we talking about like That Jesus, the miracles, we talking about the burning bush, or like you got a whole blanket of things. Like
Yeah.
where are we at?
Talking
And-
about the 6 days and 7-day rested. He's talking about the Jonah and the well.
Well,
What are
yeah.
you talking
Well,
about?
that's what I said. So I said, okay, so you believe in a higher being, like something, right? So you believe in the whole Old Testament, like God. You don't question God.
Oh.
Well, no, I don't that either. So, okay,
Are we talking aliens? Like, what is our thought?
I don't know. And then that's
Lots
where
of people say that though. They say, "Oh yeah, definitely something created all of this," but they don't even go to like it's God. They don't care what it's called. They just those type people just feel better to say it's something. But what they really don't realize in the end, and is why you have to be so careful with kid gloves, is the fact that what really is different from an agnostic to an atheist, like from somebody that knows there's something, but I don't surrender to it. I don't have a relationship with it. I really don't know what it is. Or an atheist that says, no, there's nothing. I just want to be happy, and that's all that matters. I just do whatever I want. What's the difference in those two things when you come to die?
Did you, I'm raising my hand. Did you ask about their stance on heaven and hell?
I didn't make it that far, but here's the thing that a couple things really caught me, and it's a real deep, long conversation. But
Yeah.
the first one was 16 years in church, and they couldn't name one story of the Bible.
Yeah, that's good.
Happens
They
all the
sat
time.
there zoned out because they had to be there and just,
And I brought that up. I said, hey, I'm asking you for a specific place.
Or who's giving the stories? Who's preaching? Are they really called to preach? Or are you just walking into a building that says, I'm a church, but
but we have options out there. Before you, Corey, I watched VeggieTales and learned a whole lot. We have things out there that would
But-
give us information.
well,
you
we
had
haven't always
knowledge, but
had-
you didn't have a relationship because
Right.
you didn't understand.
come on, man.
that's where you brought it home.
Yeah.
But VeggieTales, we ain't always had VeggieTales though, right?
No.
But that brought up the whole thing. Like, okay, so here we are. And then we backed up and they said, well, it's just people writing things. I said, yeah, but is it? If you're talking about Jesus alone,
Yeah, right.
you've got 4 gospels. I said, and one of those was a doctor that wasn't even there that did the research. They ended up bringing it all together because their fact was, well, I'm just hands on. If I can't touch it, it didn't really happen. I
Of
said,
course.
a lot of smart people say that. But
This is really good.
so we kept diving into that and kept diving in. And the moral of the story was that they couldn't say why they didn't.
Absolutely.
So I said, look, I said, you're not 16 anymore, right? And you're almost 40, early 40s.
Yeah.
I said, when's the last time you prayed? When's the last time you tried to build a relationship to find out where you're at?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because obviously your first 16 years, it didn't click.
Yeah.
I said, just give it a shot. What's the worst that could happen?
What you always say, just
But
reach out and say, hey, let's take a shot.
and you're right. But man, it's so difficult for somebody to say, you know what, you're right. I'm going to try that. Because it's almost like if you attempt it,
So, a question.
you're going too far.
Yeah, of course.
Are they in the job field of science-based stuff?
No, not at all.
Really?
It's one of those things. 16 years, can't say anything in the Bible.
You know, that's interesting because we talk about raise your kids up in church, but it's not just that. You can't just drag them to church. You got to
But
make sure you're at the right place.
Well, that's a good point, and that may be true. There's probably great truth to that I've never even really thought of. Also, if you do drag them to church, the Bible says train up the child
As it should go.
in the way it should go,
Uh-huh.
right? But when it's old, it will not depart from it.
Well, it
So-
obviously wasn't trained up the right way.
Or they could have been trained, they could have seen something maybe, but that doesn't mean that seed in them is going to start growing. It could be now that it's going to start like growing, and they may say, now that Stephen's planted this seed, they may say, hey man, what do we need to do? You know,
You're probably one of the first people that's ever questioned that.
Well,
Could be,
and they also
obviously.
felt comfortable enough to open up to me about it. But they mentioned something like, the Moses parting the Red Sea. And I said, well, that makes perfect sense. I said, if that's what you're questioning. They said, well, I mean, it's not like there's a burning bush everywhere. You know, who's going to believe that? I said, well, no, that's something I definitely believe. Out of many stories of the Bible, I think that's one of the most believable ones.
Yeah. Well,
For real.
how is it? Is it not insane that I just preached on that?
That's what Terry said before we came here. She said, hey, did you tell Corey about the burning bush? Or what happened yesterday? I said, oh, hadn't told anybody.
Shut up.
Yeah, this happened last night. So
What?
this was literally just there.
And I'm preaching on the burning bush today?
Yep.
Well, that's our fireworks right there. Welcome people to the spiritual 4th of July. May the 4th be with you.
That's crazy.
4th is in the fire with you.
Mm.
Yeah, I got that when you saw it. I was like, May the 4th. This is not Star Wars, buddy. And that's when I saw that. And then I was like, wait, the 4th. I get it.
Yeah.
It took me a little bit because I was like, wrong month, you know?
So looping back.
Wow, did you think when we preached on that this morning, did you think whoa, God, you're all over this?
Of course. And here's the thing. I had all these tools and I was bringing out, all the gospels and all the different things and the miracles. But if somebody just chooses not to believe,
absolutely.
you can't convince them. There's no way.
No, but you can.
Ignorance is bliss at the same time
But
if you don't know.
did more than you could ever imagine because you were throwing out that seed. You were literally throwing that seed at them. And, it's not up to us. Even when I preach on a Sunday, all I can do is throw that message out there. That doesn't mean that it's going to go down into somebody's heart.
But never in a million years
Yeah, come on.
did I think that you would be on this side of that
Start
conversation.
From the bottom, now we hear.
Terry was sitting there the whole time. She said, she was kind of the mediator. She was like, no, he knows what you mean. Yeah, no, this is
This
just a
is
couple
good.
years ago. He was on there. Yeah, I got it was constant.
Oh, that's
Exactly.
awesome.
I mean, if they're going to take advice from anybody, it's got to be somebody you have walked in their shoes.
And that's the thing. And that's what I try to relate was obviously I don't want to belittle anybody. I don't want to judge them. But at the same time,
you should tell
hey, I've
people
got
you
the
cussed me
tools.
out.
Well, Terry did for me.
Good.
I said, I've got the tools to help you. Let me just see what I got.
Yeah.
You just keep going back to the toolbox. Like maybe it's this one.
Yeah.
Maybe this is it. But maybe something will click. And maybe the next day they went ahead and prayed just to try it out. You never know.
But they've thought about it. You know that they've thought about
But they
it.
don't know. Most people like that, they don't know what to do. And if you say something at all to shed some light, you're just saying, okay, just talk to him. Just try it out. See if he's there. See if he will show you that he's real. Take a chance. That's you teach that. That's
I'm just blown away.
Well,
I never thought you'd be that guy. That's
I
amazing.
know. And that's what I said too, is look, I've read the Bible for years in different increments to try to prove it's wrong.
Yeah.
Like I get where you're coming from, but at
Yeah.
the same time, when you try to look for what's right in it, it starts making sense. But you got to have the right headspace for it.
when you have an open mind and an open heart to say, I'm going to look into this.
Mhm.
I'm going to try you, God. I'm going to see what this is about. If you start reading the Bible, man, you can't go against it. Most every person that ever tries to prove it wrong ends up being converted.
And I was really hoping that they'd be able to bring out some stories because we've talked about so many here. I feel like I got some ammo in my bag.
That's
to
how-
really,
but
to
how many
help, but they
people-
couldn't.
Yeah, and how many people just, even aside from Christian, just in the secular world, most people got a problem with something. They got an issue or they hate something so bad, but they can't tell you why.
Of course.
Isn't most people like that? Like,
Mhm.
I can't, Well, I mean, I can't tell you why.
I just don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it. Maybe cuss somebody out, I don't like you. Like, that's what happened to Charlie Kirk. Like, most of all them people would say, you shouldn't be here. You're giving a dangerous, you're teaching dangerous stuff. I hate you. Cuss him out. And then he would say, what have I said that's not true? What have I said that's wrong? And then, those people would basically say they couldn't say nothing. They couldn't tell you. And it's the same way with people that don't believe. They don't know why. And if you press them in a corner, or if you put them on a hot seat, just like you said, which was beautiful, you weren't over forceful with it. You were just like, can you tell me why? Oh, okay.
Well,
can you tell me what story?
What is, like you said, so beautiful about it, because you know what they're thinking, what they're going through. But so many people would be so belittling or want to show them all their knowledge. And
yes.
I think that's beautiful that you were able to actually come to them knowing their side.
And Stephen, you can't press him in a corner like that. Like, you can't just force him to do anything. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you can't make him do anything he doesn't want to do.
That's what I was saying. Like, today, but God's like, somebody like you, I need you. So I'm going to show you the fireworks, because nobody else is going to be able to make you do nothing.
And it's so funny because that conversation started, I'm not sure where I started with it, is pretty much saying that, oh, well, I don't think you got to go to church to have a relationship with God. That's how it started.
And that's basically saying, hey, Stephen, I don't really know the Bible.
Well, and that's what I said. I said, well, do you believe the Bible? Because it says that fellow believers should come together and worship. And that's when it started, that's what led into it. I've known these people for years. We've never talked about religion.
And it's not even about, first it started out like we kind of believe, but then you ask them, do you believe in Jesus? Oh, not really. Well,
they had a touch of Savannah, right? Like, it's just easier to go along with the flow. But once you start asking those questions, you can't help but just say, man, I think it's all baloney.
Oh, so you believe...
I had that faux faith.
So you believe in Jesus, right? Well, you believe in God, a higher power. So really it comes down to, man, you don't believe nothing. You don't even know a story. You don't know what you have a problem with. You don't even know why you don't believe.
And here's the thing. What if those people are listening to this right now? And here's where it is. It could seem as though we're making fun of the situation or pulling them in or pulling them away or pushing them away, whatever you want to say. But that's not the case at all.
No.
I feel like I'm doing this as a Monday morning quarterback in my abilities of leading someone to the faith.
Yeah.
And it's...
What could you have done to make it better? Or
can you? Or is it just some people just choose not to right now?
Yeah, and it's
you're laying the foundation.
It's a very awesome thing that God... This is just transformation and change, not just in their life, but for God to be able to use you to see, just to say basically, no, we're not making fun. It's like, we're just saying, where are you? Like, if you believe, what do you believe? Because obviously you don't believe in church. Obviously you don't really believe in living a Christian, righteous, godly life. Like, so what do you believe? That's what we're really trying to figure out. That's what you were trying to say.
Well, and it really comes down to, if it was a New Testament question, like, oh, Jesus is just kind of where I draw the line.
Yeah.
But it was the Old Testament too. So
yeah, it was really more God than it was Jesus, it seemed.
Well, and that's
then it went from God to not even God. It's a higher power.
Right, because if you start just questioning the whole Bible and then just evaluating each thing individually, like, oh, it's all bogus. Okay. But if you break it down, you know the backstories and you see where they all intertwine, then it all makes sense.
Yes. And you have to have an extremely open heart to be able to see those things. And man, that's peeling back the layers of the fake, the pride, the I don't want to get into much of that. I don't want it to cost me anything. I don't want to lose anything. Most people, and you really just have to be willing to be stripped down to nothing. Like, what do I know and what am I really willing to see? What's this going to cost me? Or can I get to the place that I don't care what it's going to cost me? I've got nothing to lose, you know.
And you just said, what's it going to cost me? If you're in church for 16 years, you have whatever relationship you think you should have at that point. You quit going and your life doesn't dramatically decrease. It doesn't get less of a life. You don't just spiral down into a hole of evil thoughts and evil ways. What do you see? You don't see the value in it, right? You don't see the relationship because you don't have it, and you don't even know what you're not having or not what you're missing.
Yeah. And I love what Savannah said, because what if you are really getting brought to church, but your parents, I mean, they may go to church, but that don't mean they're godly. That don't mean they have a relationship. If you are going into a church, is it a spirit-filled church? Is it a truth-driven church? Is it preaching things that people can apply to their lives and learn how to get a relationship with God and learn the cost and what am I going to have to shed? What am I going to have to let go of? Show me, do I need this? And then once you peel those layers, you begin to see things. It's like the apostle Simon Peter at the time, he was like one of the most rough-necked, coarse, cuss you out in a heartbeat. Even, I'm sure, when Andrew, Peter's brother, brought him on the boat to meet Jesus, I'm sure he was rough. But the minute he saw the supernatural in Jesus, the miracle, the Bible said, like, he melted. He melted to nothing, and he began to cry, and he said, leave me, please, get out of my presence. I'm not worthy. And that's what happens when you start letting those layers of pride. Who cares what you don't know? Like, get in here and just start learning. Let your guards down. Who knows how many guards you've even put up? What's happened to you as a child? How have you been affected? Did they teach you about God, or did they just take you to church? And as you read, as you hear the word of God, there's something very powerful to go into a church and hear the word of God preached by someone who is sent from God. And as the word comes through the person, it's coming directly from God. It's his word. It's not mine. Like Thessalonians, the First Thessalonians 7:13 said, for this reason, we thank God without ceasing, because when you heard the word, you didn't hear it as it were the word of men, but as it is the word of God. And it's truth. You heard it from God. That's the only way it can come. And when you really hear that, and when you really let all those guards down and you give it a chance, and you go to church, or you hear the preach message, or you read the Bible, or you pray, and you actually give God a chance, a person with an honest heart has no choice to open themselves up. The truth will come in, and the light will shine in, and the darkness will flee away. And that's why people break. They break because suddenly their eyes are open. Jesus said, you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. Not set you free, make you free. Like, go into your cage, go into your prison. And the Bible said God's hand is not shortened that it cannot save. He will reach into your prison. He will reach into the depths of your darkness. He will reach into your confusion, and he will pull you out if you will open your heart up to him. And you'll buckle under that pressure because it's the glory of God and it's too heavy for humanity.
And, kind of looping it back, this whole podcast, the Just Jesus podcast, is using the analogy of making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I feel like my conversation last night was pretty much trying to figure out where they're having trouble making their sandwich.
Yeah.
And as I'm asking the questions,
or
I'm
if
like,
they even know how.
right, is it the bread or is it the jelly or where you hung up? But they couldn't even tell me where they were hung up.
Yes.
And that's the problem. So do you go back and you start at the beginning? But what does the beginning look like? How do you get the bread out of the pantry for someone that's never got the bread out?
Yeah.
You can't make them know that it's true. But and that's my own struggles. And this podcast was in no way meant to belittle anybody and their walk of faith or lack of.
No.
But it's a learning experience for all of us believers in the way that we can help someone else get closer to the faith.
I think it's amazing. And, if you don't know how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, which is to say, you really don't know where you're at because you're still kind of in the dark. Many times Jesus compared himself to a seed sower. He said in his word, he is the seed sower. And when we preach or we speak, that same kind of comparison is coming through us. And when you sow the seed, it has to go in the ground first. And in the ground is dark. And in the ground, the storm has to come, and the storm has to rain, and the winds have to blow, and the ground has to be turned and cultivated. And for that seed, that's a dark place. But sooner or later, the seed will break the ground and break through the surface, and the light will shine, and the seed will turn into a tree, and the tree then will grow branches. And all of these things start out behind the scenes and in the dark. We have to let our guards down as we grow and as we give God a chance to work in our lives. Start out simply, like Stephen said, by praying a simple prayer like, God, we don't know. Yes, we went and we've been in church, but we don't know what that looks like and what it's supposed to look like. And if you're real, would you just show us? And at that moment, if your heart's open, that seed will go into your heart. And you're walking all this by faith. You're not walking by sight. You're letting God move. You've tried it long enough. And we as humans make a mess because we try to do it ourselves. We try to carry the weight. And we mess up. But God says, give it to me. And sooner or later, it'll stop looking dark in that faith. And you'll start seeing the light of Jesus, and you'll start seeing with clarity, and your branches will begin to form. And when your branches begin to form, then your fruit will begin to grow, and it will be distributed out into your world and into your ministry. Be blessed.